Hey, good afternoon, this is Adrian with MBX. We're out of the range doing a little bit of tuning. We just thought we'd do a video on kind of how to tune the buffer. We had a lot of questions about it. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about it. A lot of people buying a buffer. You've got the stainless steel body and the inner and the outer spring and then the back plate. So basically, what's the good about a buffer? Well, one thing, it's designed especially for PCC. It's very durable. It's not going to come apart. It's not going to break. It's going to shoot hundreds of thousands of rounds without any issues. The spring, yeah, the spring's going to get warm, but that's going to take, again, thousands and thousands of rounds, and that could be replaced very easily. But what's great about it is you can tune it. So that's why we're kind of out here today to look at how to tune it. So basically, when you buy the buffer, it comes already with a spring, which is a red spring here, which is primarily for the medium to high-end loads, the power factor like Winchester, White Box, some of the Federal stuff's pretty hot. So the secondary spring is what helps to slow the bolt down and make the gun track great. So it comes with that, and that's kind of the starting point for the spring. So basically, what you need to do when you get it is necessarily don't try to tune it immediately, because this spring, this outer spring, which you can see in my rifle here, and this inner spring, it's going to get worked, and it's going to start to compress, and it's going to start to get to a settled working length. So when you get it, it's super stiff, everything's stiff, locking back the gun, shooting the gun. Unfortunately, there's no way to really send it out already broke in. So you need at least 1,000 rounds. After about 1,000 rounds, then you get a feel for the gun, you get a feel for your ammo. Then you can start to do a little bit of tuning on it. So we're going to run over some tuning aspects here. So this is the first part of the video. We're then going to do a little bit of how to tune it. So basically, this is what you get. You get the spring, as we said, and you get that. You can also purchase an additional spring kit, which gives you 3 different springs, basically a red, a green, and a blue spring. And that allows you to change these springs out within the buffer to get different effect. We're also going to talk about the 2 holes. You have the buffer, which engages a little bit earlier and have a longer stroke, or you have a little bit of preload on the spring and a shorter stroke for your buffer, depending on kind of how you want the gun to react to the field. So we're going to look at that. We're going to go into that a little bit more detail in the second part of the video, but it's just basically just an introduction into the buffer system for the PCC gun, and then we're going to talk about how to tune it. Okay, so we're still out of the range. This is the second part of the video. So basically, we're going to do a quick rundown on how to take it apart and how to put it back together so that you can tune it, rebuild it. So basically, we sell a tuning rebuild kit. It's kind of a good little thing to have, because A, you can rebuild it should you need to, and B, you've got all your springs. So it pretty much comes with everything. You got your 3 different springs. You got your back pad in there, which goes into the stock here, and then you've also got this awesome MBX sticker, which I don't know. I think that's worth $12 by itself, but that's just my personal opinion at this point. But anyway, besides that, you got a little Allen wrench, and you got a couple of set screws in the special, we call it a dog bone pin that goes in there, which keeps it from coming out. So basically, how do you pull it apart? How do you tune it? Well, first of all, make sure you got the correct size Allen wrench, which comes obviously in the kit. And I think Dave can enlighten me. What size Allen wrench is that, Dave?
It's a 5/64.
It's a 5/64. I didn't want to say the wrong size, and someone goes and buys it, and then they go mad and they email me. So anyway, basically, the way this is designed is you have to compress it down a little bit. It's a captured set screw, so that it can't come out, so that it's not going to come out. It's not going to fail on you. So you have to push it down. There's a hole right there. You put your Allen wrench in. We put a little bit of Loctite. It's a purple Loctite. It doesn't grab that hard, but make sure you've got the right Allen wrench, and then turn it. You should be able to pop this thing out, and there it breaks free right there. So take that out all the way. Be careful not to lose it, which is why we supply a couple of those with it. And then you simply just push the pin out. You just take the little bit of load off it, push the pin out. You can see it's designed so it can't come out very easily by itself. The pin goes down here, and then you pop it apart. Pretty easy. So anyway, so you got your outer, you got your inner, and you got your spring. So this one is this one has a green spring, and we measure the we call it an 055 spring. It's basically the diameter of the wire. That's going to be a kind of a medium spring. So we have the blue spring, which is an 047 wire, a little softer, probably more like your steel challenge type loads. The 055, the green, is going to be more for your 132, 140 power factor, maybe a little bit less. It works great. And the red's going to be for your little harder loads like your Winchester white box and guys that want to shoot some super hot ballistic load. You've got your red spring for that. So anyway, you have your kit here. For this one, I'm gonna, just as an example, I'm gonna take out, I got my green spring, I'm gonna take it out and put in my blue spring. A little bit lower power factor, a lot of people seem to like that. And so that's the blue core. I simply reassemble it by putting it back together. Put the plunger in there. Make sure that I have that hole aligned with my set screw holes, and push it down and put in my little dog bone part. Make sure it is, just make sure when you do this, that when you tighten it up, that the pin should go pretty much in the center, but you're definitely going to have to make sure that you kind of align it with your hand a little bit. There's a little bit of room back and forth there to lock this thing down. So once it's done, again, I'm not going to go crazy. I would recommend putting a little bit of purple Loctite or something on it. It should be good. Now I'm just going to check that my pin here is below the surface, because I don't want it rubbing up and down my spring inside of my rifle here. If you come back here, you see I want it to be smooth, so it should be good. So that's basically how you take it apart and tune it, and put it back in the gun, shoot it, and you can see how you think. So I also get a lot of questions about the second hole. Well, why the second hole? Well, basically the second hole is because the way the system works, it goes back in the buffer and it engages on the back wall, and then this goes back and slows the bolt down, and it goes forward, and then that spring disengages and it goes forward and it pushes the bolt in. Well, the second spring, you can actually compress the spring and put a preload on it. But also what that does is it makes this system engage later within the cycle. So it allows the bolt to come back a little further without any interruption from the buffer, and to contact a little bit later. And also going forward, it also doesn't push as far forward because it bottoms out there, and it lets the bolt go forward. So it's just a question of preference. If you go shoot the gun, you're probably going to find that you like one way or the other. Some people like the longer, some people like the shorter. You tend to get a little bit more of a hit, a little bit more of a faster smack with this. So if you like to track a dot where it comes in, it's real quick and jerky, that's great. You get the longer version, you tend to get a little bit more push from the gun. A little soft, a little bit more push. So it's just a personal preference on that. So it gives you the ability to do it. Also, guys that might want to have a gun that goes back to bolt lock every time, obviously this allows the bolt to go back a little bit faster, a little bit further before it engages. So it's a little bit better to let lock. So if you want to shoot a light load and you want to have lock back IDPA or something like that, or steel challenge for whatever reason you want that, then probably the second hole. It just depends on what you like. I know that I personally tend to shoot the short stroke. I know that David and other people tend to shoot the longer stroke. It just depends on, it's a total personal preference. It also depends on your loads. Okay.
Let's touch on lubrication real quick.
Oh, I did. I almost forgot. Lubrication. So make sure that definitely this is oiled, and you put a little bit of grease on here. I like to put a little bit of grease on my bolt when I assemble it, and put some oil on the outside. Make sure that that the whole part is very well lubricated. You can see this from my gun, but oh, the cleanest my gun's been in either. But you can see that you want to have lubrication because it's a very fast-moving part within the tube here. So make sure that it's lubricated. Keep it somewhat clean, but once you lubricate it, you should be able to shoot it for at least 2,000 to 5,000 rounds, and then re-lubricate and clean it after that. Okay, I think I should take care of that part. Okay, so basically this is kind of the life part of the tuning. So basically I have my buffer here. I have a couple of different settings. I got a green one, a 5.5 short. I got a long 4.7, and I got a long red. So I'm going to put this in the gun here. I don't have a little buffer pin because, believe it or not, I change buffers a lot in my business, unfortunately, so but I got used to that. Okay. So basically what I'm going to look for is I'm going to do some double taps. I'm going to kind of see how the gun feels, how the gun settles back down. I'm going to watch the dot, and I'm going to go through my changing. Unlike you, you're going to have to change the springs before, but I'm going to have a quick run through here. So let's start off with that blue 4.7. I'm shooting Precision Delta stuff here. It's great 147. Those guys do a great job. It's reasonably priced. It shoots real nice and flat. It's real accurate. So that's kind of the ammo of my choice when I got to buy ammo. So basically, I'm just going to go hot. I'm going to shoot. Put it on the A zone and pull the trigger fast a couple of times, or fast-ish for me, and we'll see where the bullet flies. Oh, that's a little better than I thought. So basically, you can see there on the target. You take a look there. The one on the left. I just basically put the dot on there, and I pulled the trigger twice. The target to the left and 2, 4, 6 yards. Pretty much, I don't have a whole bunch of deflection from up or down or side to side, so I'm really liking that. That's kind of my personal favorite, that 4.7 spring for these loads. So now I'm going to change the buffer out a little bit. You have to forgive me, I got a little bit of a tight down here on the lockdown. That's the way I like it. So anyway, I'm going to take that out. I'm going to try and improve on that. I don't know if I really can improve too much. I love that setup. So I'm going to go to a little bit of a surface spring, the red spring. So it just depends on how you like the gun. That's the blue spring for me hits a little bit. It's a little bit of a tighter, quicker smack. This is a little bit more of a push, a little softer. So again, but if you've got the hot ammo, this is going to be a little too much of a smack. But if you've got a good load, like the Precision Delta load, you're not going to have that problem. So oh yeah, I can use that as a hammer. That's right. There you go. Knock my pin back. That's a dual purpose use, but don't try that at home. So anyway, I'm going to load it back up again. I got a target next to it. I got a couple of holes in it already, but I'm going to try and put a few more in the one next to it. So we'll kind of see how the gun feels tracking with this spring in it for me. Oh yeah, safety off. There you go. Well, I don't mind at all. It does feel a little bit more bouncy to me, and you can probably see that second target. Maybe you want to take a walk over today and we'll talk a little bit about it. Let me just make sure this gun's clear. This gun's clear. So let's kind of go over there, have a quick look at it. Let's see. So basically what I'm looking for, if you're trying to do the tuning setup, is you want the dot to return to its point of origin. You don't want it. You want to have the feel you want. You don't want it either too smacky in the shoulder or too much hit or too bouncy. For me, again, this was the 047 spring. You can see here, I'm liking it. It comes right back to where I want. This one is a little bit heavier spring, and the light's a little lower, and you can kind of see how it starts to open up. Trying to shoot it the same way, but it's definitely kind of moving around a little bit more than maybe I would want it to move. So at this point, if I'm going to tune, I'm probably going to lean more towards my setup for the left here, which was my 047 blue spring as opposed to my 062 red spring. So it's just kind of a basic idea of how to tune it and what the end result is. So you guys have some fun tuning these, and you look for some kind of these results, and you should be getting pretty good. Okay, thanks a lot.